Where's my music? What happened? What? Hold on. What happened? Oh, where'd that go? Oh, I moved it. Got it. That's what I get for reshuffling my folders. I would think it would be. There it is. Oh, there we go. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the live stream. It's good to be here with you on a Monday evening. Oh, back to the old original, not original, the old before the AI Bardwell soundtrack. But, if you are in love with AI music, Blunty has got some, Blunty, you've been making some AI songs for me, haven't you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I figured if there's going to be a day to do it, now's a pretty good day.
April Fools.
I made some songs for the stream. It's just,
Yeah.
I don't know. AI is getting crazy.
It's
Whatever
crazy.
you want to call it. Well,
Yeah.
musical language model or whatever the word is.
Well, like, so it's so many different directions that AI is going. Like, we've got language models, we've got now video AI, and now we've got musical AI. So, for example, you like drum and bass. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, very nice.
Monday comes and we all tune in. Joshua Bardwell, let the live stream begin. FPV together through thick and thin. In the world of drones, together we win. Super chatters glow with the support in tow. It's time to go. Joshua's here, let the knowledge flow. Even know it all's something more to know. Joshua on YouTube, where the flyers meet. Super chatters, patrons, and the
We gotta get to the drop.
We're coming in hot, and we just can't stop. Now it's time for the chorus drop.
This is really, it's good. I Okay. You don't like drum and bass? Okay, no problem. How about country? This is embarrassingly good. Like, if I were a professional musician, I would be terrified right now.
Let the live stream begin. FPV
I would be terrified right now.
In the world of drones, together we win. Super chatters.
AI wrote these lyrics, composed the music.
Joshua's here. Let the knowledge flow. Even know it all. Have something more to know.
Here's the thing. Is this like good, like chart-topping music? No. Is this better than something that you would go on Fiverr and pay somebody $50 or $100 for? It absolutely. Like, if you were just like, hey, I want a jingle, and you go on Fiverr and you just pay somebody $50 or $100 to smack something together for you, this is as good or better than that. What did this cost you, Blunty? Any idea?
Pennies.
Pennies per. We should do one
pennies
more.
per, basically. It's $10 a month for like a lot.
Let's see. We got
Monday comes and we all tune in. Joshua Bardwell, let the live stream begin. If thick and thin, in the world of drones, together we win. Super chatters glow with their support in tow. It's time to go. Joshua's here, let the
Astounding.
knowledge flow. Even though it all has something more to know. Joshua and you
This is
where the
really
flyers
decent.
meet.
Like,
Super chatters, patrons, and plebs in every seat. We're coming in hot, and we just can't stop.
what the hell?
Now it's time for the chorus drop.
Here we go.
So here's to the plebs, patrons, and the super chat crew. Joshua Bardwell's live stream bringing us through.
Okay, so it's not perfect. They don't know how to end the song. Here's the end of this song. Ready? That's it. They still don't know how to do an outro, but they'll get there. Anyway, welcome to the live stream. Happy April Fool's Day. This is my actual live stream. This is not a joke. Joseph Tahari says they could make commercial jingles with this stuff. Yeah, those would be absolutely usable, like shitty corporate jingles. Or maybe even... The thing is, Blunty, you could give them the lyrics. You had them write the lyrics. But if you have lyrics, you can give them lyrics, right?
Yes. Yeah, and
Yeah.
you can... Yeah, you basically can give it lyrics and innately describe what you want and then, overgenerate to make multiples and stuff.
Yeah, okay. Well,
You can make you can make longer songs. You could end on purpose. Like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you could do. I mean, a song generates in about a minute is how long it takes from the prompt, and you get 2 songs out of that.
yeah. Man.
Yeah.
Something. Anyway, happy April Fools to you guys. I thought about making an April Fool's joke, and then I remembered that April Fool's jokes need to be easily distinguishable from reality. Like if you post, "Hi everybody, sorry to announce that I have cancer. I've been given 4 months to live. It's been great knowing you all." Like, that's not an April Fool's joke. Like, ha, ha! So I was like, all of the things I could think of to do as a spontaneous April Fool's joke involved, that. And I was like, nah, that's not good. So happy April 1st to you guys. Let's get into the stream. As always, I'll be taking your questions. We'll be taking your questions from the YouTube chat. I will be taking the questions from the Discord here. Beautiful, beautiful people over here. And I will be taking questions from the super chats. The way to make sure that I answer your question is to hit the $, leave a super chat. Otherwise, it's catch as catch can. And Blunty will queue them up and I'll answer them. So we're going to actually start with this question from Controller Man Dan, who asks, why is it not explained that packet rate doesn't save per model? I don't know. Like, I set 2 drones up on 50 hertz, then I set my whoop up at 500 hertz and my RSSI DBM, and I thought it applied per model. Yeah. So Dan, I've run into this too. And you say, why is it not explained? That's like, I mean, you just assumed it worked one way, and then it turned out it worked the other way. And somewhere out there, someone would be like, why did my packet rate change if it worked the other way? So, now you know, right? It is possible using a model match to force the packet rate to be set correctly. So there's a lot of details I could go into, and I'm not going to because model match is a can of worms we're not going to get into. I have a video about Express LRS model match, and you should search for it and go read it or watch it. But if you have model match turned on, then settings like the packet rate are tied to the model in the radio. And you will not be... Do you have to manually change the receiver number, though? Huh.
No, if model match is off, and then you set a model and then turn it on, I believe it sets it automatic. Like, I believe it issues a set to the receiver.
But then, so you've got model number 1, and it's set to receiver number 1, and model number 2, and it's set to receiver number 2, and the settings change based on which receiver powers up. Is that right? I think that's right.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, the settings will match with the model of the model of the radio you're in, as long as it matches with the receiver. Like, the receiver doesn't know anything about anything. You could just assume the receiver is not part of this. Basically,
right.
It's just, is the model different in your model? And then if it is different, then it will apply differently. But it won't work unless you match it up, right?
Yeah, but the module has to know that when the model changes, the module should change its settings. That's the key. And so I think what happens is that your model has a receiver number associated with it. That is communicated to the module, which then loads the correct settings.
But what I'm saying is you don't need model match to do that. It's just something you could do. As long as the model's numbers are different.
Oh, you don't have to turn model match on. But the difference is, if you have model match turned off, then you can plug the quad in and have the wrong model loaded. But if you have model match turned on, if you have the wrong model loaded, it won't bind.
Right.
Nick Sebring says he uses model match, and that is true. So, Controller Man Dan, the way to make Express LRS work like you expect it to work is to learn more about model match. Otherwise, it lurks. Now, there's another piece that I wish they had, and they don't have it, and they may never have it. It's a thing I've whined about a little bit, but not enough that the Express LRS devs gave in and did it. And that is, I wish there was a way for the receiver to tell the flight controller what its RSSI DBM threshold ought to be. So that as you change the packet rate, the Betaflight RSSI DBM threshold could change, but there isn't, and so that's why I always rely on LQ anyway. Anyway, good question. And we'll start off with like a super nerdy question, right? Here's a question from Meme FPV, who asks, what are some of your favorite prints on your Bamboo X1C? Funny you ask that, Meme FPV. I'm literally printing right now. I'm literally printing right this minute on my Bamboo X1C. I freaking love this printer. It has made 3D printing so transparent to me. You know, I had a lot of, I say had, and I say it in the past tense, I hope. I had a lot of fun with the nerdiness of 3D printing, with hacking and building and tweaking and improving and compiling and configuring and calibrating. And that was good. It was a learning experience. I'm glad I had it. And now I'm really happy to own a printer that I just click print and go, and stuff comes out the other side almost all the time. Any one of the Bamboo, you don't have to have the X1C, any one of the Bamboo printers, all the way down to the, I think it's like $600 for the smallest one. They offer an amazing experience, and I cannot recommend them highly enough. What are some of my favorite prints? Well, let's see. What have I been printing lately? I guess I should save that. Yes. What have I been printing lately? Let's see. I printed this honeycomb storage wall. I wish I could show you a picture of it. I don't think I have a picture. Do I have a picture of it on my phone? I do not. I could literally just take a picture right this minute. It's right to the left of me. Hold on. Boom. There we go. I'll give that 1 second to upload and I'll show it to you. I printed this honeycomb storage wall that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Hang on. It looks like this. And I'm using it to mount my networking equipment. So I've got a switch, and there's my cable modem, my router, and some other stuff. I haven't cleaned up the wires yet. I'm going to clean up the wires. But it's this honeycomb grid, and then you can you attach it to the wall. You can modularly stick things to it. So that's pretty cool. What else? Let's see. Huh. I don't know. What have I printed lately? Feels like I printed a lot of things. I think it was just that honeycomb storage wall, though. It was all the pieces of that honeycomb wall I've been printing lately. There you go. Right now I'm printing a slim module bay cover for the expansion bay cover for the HD0 goggles. I've gotten tired of having my analog module hanging off the side of my HD0 goggles. So I think I'm going to switch to just regular analog goggles like Sky Zone, just so I can fit my stuff in my backpack easier. I don't know. Anyway, there you go. It's really nice. One of my favorite things about the Bamboo is that, like, if I say, oh, I want to print PETG, or, oh, I want to print PAHT carbon fiber, I don't feel like I have to be like, oh, I have to learn about this new filament and maybe it'll work. I just go put it in, I select the profile, print, boom. It usually comes out great. It's amazing. So I just feel a lot more freedom. I really restricted myself mostly to PLA and TPU on my other printers, just because I was kind of intimidated. Oh, how do you get good prints with PETG? And now I don't even think about it. It's pretty good. We got a super chat here from Callie FPV, who asks, thank you, Callie, for $5. Can a bad capacitor cause a 6S quad to burn an ESC and 2 sets of motors twice? I mean, yes is the answer to that question, but that doesn't seem particularly likely. You follow me? Like, yeah, not having a capacitor can cause an ESC and motors to burn. But wow, like, I'm surprised that they burned like that. But did you reuse the same capacitor? I don't know. I would definitely not use the capacitor again. FPV Shed asks, why would a motor be stiff until I put a battery on? I got one quad that this happens to. Replace the motor, gets the same issue. Is this just a freak issue? So what you're experiencing is called FET drag, F-E-T, FET drag, and it happens when the ESC is powered down and the phases of the motor are shorted together. You can simulate this with a motor not soldered to anything, just a bare motor on the bench. Take and squeeze or pinch together or use alligator clips to connect the two of the 3 wires, and you'll notice that immediately there's FET drag, and it has to do with the magnets and current flowing through the stator and so forth. It's basically the opposite of what happens when the ESC drives the motor. So that's not in and of itself a problem, although it is a little unusual if only one of them has drag. I would say that as long as the motor flies okay, then it's probably not an issue. Although it would make me wonder if maybe... No, if you had a shorted ESC, you would fry the motor instantly. So I think you're okay. I think some motors and some ESCs seem to experience FET drag more than others. And so I don't think I would worry about it as long as it flew okay. Cause asks, how are you not burned out yet? I love flying, but the amount of work just to get out and fly has become too much and I just don't have the time. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, the Rolling Stones are still touring, right? Sometimes you just got a thing you like doing, and you just keep doing it. I definitely go through phases where I'm more interested in some things than others. I'm super happy. I got out and I flew. There was a construction site, not really it's a kind of a construction site, but not really a construction site. That I drove past the other day and was like, I should go fly that. And then Sunday, I was like, I'll bet no one's there because it's Easter Sunday. I was like, I'm going to do it. And I got out and I just flew freestyle at a construction site, which I haven't done in a long time because I've had my head down doing other things. You just go through phases, but there's so many different aspects of the hobby that you can engage with if you want to. I definitely know a lot of people who I've seen. They get out of the hobby and they go do dirt bikes, or they go do drift cars, or they go do whatever. They move on to some other hobby. Cricket FPV just came back after a year. He was trying to start a business selling sneakers, and now he's back. Okay, great. So like whenever I start to feel myself getting burned out, I'm just like, okay, I define my job, right? I don't have to do any particular thing. And so I'm just like, what do I want to do? Like right now I'm participating in Race Scout, Tiny Whoop racing. I'm having a great time. I just try to keep it fresh and try to just engage with things that I enjoy. And it helps me stay engaged that it's my job. Because like anytime if I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I don't want to go to work today. I should quit my job. I should just shut down my channel and take down my website and, I don't know what go do. And I'm like, oh, but then I wouldn't have any money. And then I'm like, I guess I'm going to work through this. I'm not saying that happens often, but, so that's my answer. It's a ton of work. You're not wrong. It's a ton of work. Brown Solo asks, how's it going? Do you know the reason behind USB-C related things not working without an OTG adapter? Yes, Brown Solo. So the difference and by the way, USB nerds, I apologize that I will get some of these details wrong because I'm not like super, super knowledgeable about all the ins and outs of USB. But a difference between USB-A and USB-C is that USB-C explicitly supports a bunch of different things, like different voltages. You can charge USB-C. The standard for USB-A was like 5 volts, 2 amps, something like that. But USB-C can do 5 volts, 9 volts, 12 volts, 20 volts, even more. I think you can push like 100 and maybe as much, definitely 100 watts. I think there's a new standard for USB-C that pushes even more, maybe as much as 160 watts. I'm not sure. USB-C can do HDMI output. USB-C can do all kinds of things. And what that means is that unlike USB-A, where basically anything you plug in, like as long as it can handle 5 volts, you're good to go, right? With USB-C, if I plug something in and the port goes, oh, you want 9 volts, huh? Here's 9 volts, and then it fries. So what USB-C, it won't work unless the device at the other end tells it, hey, here's what I am and here's what I can do. And the flight controllers that we have often do not do that. They're just like, oh, I don't know, I'm USB. What do you want from me? And so the computer, and by the way, many computers don't care. Many computers are just like, whatever, here's 5 volts. Because your computer is not a fast charger. Your computer's not going to output 9 volts. It's just going to output 5 volts. And so many computers, the USB-C ports just go, here's 5 volts. Do what you got to do. But the computers, I'm going to guess maybe you have a MacBook. I know that MacBooks have this problem. Not exclusively MacBooks, but they'll be like, and they won't work with many flight controllers. So the takeaway here is if you get a USB OTG adapter, you get a USB hub with USB-A ports, or you get, if your laptop has A ports, you get an A to C cord. That'll all make it work. There you go. So, and then some flight controllers will just work. They do, a few flight controllers have the correct circuitry to self-identify, and they'll work.
Yeah, my understanding of it.
Yeah.
I was just saying, my understanding of it, it's like literally a 2-penny resistor.
It's
that you
a
have
resistor.
to add on a certain line, and then the resistor denotes directionality. Mm-hmm. And then once you get directionality, then the OTG is supported like that.
Yeah. So it would be super easy for the flight controller designers to do this correctly, and they don't. Probably out of laziness more than anything else. But it's why you get situations where some people say you can't use a USB-C to C cable with flight controllers. You can't do it. And other people are like, what are you talking about? I do it. It works fine. It's a kind of a mixed bag. But I always have, so all of the computers that I own have a USB-A port, and I always default to using an A to C cable. I often use a USB-C to C cable if I'm sure that my computer doesn't have that problem, and sometimes it doesn't. But I always have an OTG or an A to C to help me out. Okay, we've got a couple of comments here. None of them. Yeah. Killdozer FPV asks, has anyone tried TPU on the Bamboo AMS yet? Yes. Not me. But Noozle 3D, Julian, I can't remember his last name. Julian from Noozle 3D released a video, how to print TPU with Bamboo Lab AMS. And he modded his AMS to work with TPU. Now, here's the thing. You can find this video. Just search for it. You know how to Google. If you make this change, though, you can't print rigid filament. So he prints a lot of TPU because he prints drone parts. But unless you want to dedicate a whole AMS, just buy 2 AMSs, right? How hard could it be? One AMS for one AMS for TPU, one AMS for. Ooh, that's kind of a good idea. I kind of like that idea. No, I haven't done the mod because I still print a lot of rigid filament, and I don't like switch colors of TPU a lot. I just will print. So I usually run TPU out of my heater, out of my dryer, or off the roll on the back. But it can be done. Oh, here's another video from Joe Milovich, just doing the same thing. Joseph Dahari has 2 AMS. That is tempting. The other thing is that TPU really needs to be dry. Like, the AMS is dry but not heated. I wish they made an AMS with a heater built in. Wow, Thumper, your Bamboo crapped out? What died on it, dude? 1,500 hours of print time. Okay, that's pretty good. You've been printing a lot, but what died on it? Like, surely it's not entirely dead, right? Surely it's just like repairable.
Completely sounds like the board. or something, right?
I don't know. I hope he explains. That's a hell of a story. We'll have to wait for the chat to catch up, though. What would you say is the best deal on used deal on GoPros? My rule of thumb is to buy the oldest GoPro that I can get at Best Buy. Oh my God. Hang on. Thumper FPV says the nozzle keeps clogging. It's actually the extruder, not the nozzle. I am too lazy to fix it. I will donate it to someone who wants to fix it and replace it. Wow. Well, that's a fucking pardon my swearing. That's pretty freaking generous, Thumper. I mean, I guess if you got 1,500 hours out of the printer, you made your money on it. I'm guessing anybody who prints 1,500 hours is probably printing commercially. So probably your perspective is, I got prints to make. I got my money out of it. I'm going to buy a new printer. But a lot of people would, I mean, you could hire someone to fix it, dude. You could probably mail it to Bamboo. I don't know. He's just, I know where you're coming from. You're just like, F it. Now everyone wants Thumper's Bamboo. You've done it now, man. You've done it now. Alrighty, well, there you go. How lazy or busy do you have to be willing to scrap $1,000 printer because you don't want to change the extruder? You're either lazy or too busy. That's all I have to say.
There's this thing that happens though. Like we have to be fair. There's this effect that happens. Many people know. I don't know what you call it. But like after you've dealt with something and it's had problems over time,
you don't trust
you solve them.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even that. It's like you've built up some sort of internal resentment about doing things to the thing. At least this happens to me.
Yeah.
So, like, it might be, I might just need to pull the thing off and check the spark plugs and look for spark. And but I don't feel like doing that. I'm tired of this stupid machine.
I'm just getting a new one.
Take it off my hands and let me get a new one so I don't have to do this for 2 more years.
I have been there. I have so been there. Now that you put it like that, I get it. I'm imagining that Thumper's printer has been pretty much flawless for 1,500 hours, and now this is the first thing that went wrong with it, and he's like, all right, F you, you're done. You're dead to me. But maybe that's not true. Okay. The raccoon, I buy my used GoPros from Best Buy because the Best Buy insurance is so valuable. If you fly FPV, if you fly like freestyle, you're going to break your GoPros. It's guaranteed you're going to break them. Now, that equation is changing. These days, a lot of people will just fly the O3 Air unit, or they'll even just record DVR from their Walk Snail or their HD0, and they don't bother with a GoPro. If you go back 3 or 4 years, certainly to 2019, maybe 2020, like everybody assumed if you're flying freestyle, you had an HD cam. And part of the reason for that was that everybody was flying analog, and analog is kind of crappy. But, hold on one second. That's funny. I just got a funny message. It doesn't matter. So these days you may or may not have an HD camera. You might not have a GoPro at all. Since you asked the question, I assume you want to run a GoPro. Then the question is, are you running cinematic? If you're running cinematic or you're doing house tours, you're not going to break that thing, right? So just buy the cheapest one you can get wherever you can get it. But if you are in a scenario where you know you're going to break it in the next 2 years, and like when I also don't fly, I was going to say when I flew in the past tense, and then I was like, wait a minute, I still fly. What I meant was nowadays I often will leave the GoPro off because I don't think the footage I'm going to get is worth risking damaging the camera. But there was a time when I would pretty much always fly with a GoPro. For example, when I was flying with Rotor Riot more often. You go to Rotor Riot shoot, you're going to have a GoPro on your bird. And so I would always buy from Best Buy because the insurance policy is so freaking good. You buy the GoPro, you spend $60 on a 4-year insurance policy, and then when, not if, but when in the next 4 years you smash the GoPro, you just traipse into a Best Buy and be like, new GoPro, please! And there you go. And all of the arguments for, well, I could get it refurbished on the internet, or it doesn't matter. Because no matter how cheap it is, you're going to break it and then you're out the money. But if you have the Best Buy insurance, then it's easy. Now, if you live in a country where there isn't Best Buy, in other words, I've been told that outside of America, they don't do the insurance thing. That's just an America thing. If you're not in America, then, the equation may change for you. One IFPV, in my opinion, GoPro is still pretty much the best in terms of image quality to carry on a 5-inch. GoPro is not a true cinema camera, but you can, with a little bit of experience and a little bit of effort, get extremely good results out of a GoPro. And every time I look at other cameras, they seem inferior. So... the raccoon says eBay sells protection plans on a lot of GoPros. Hey, the advantage to me of the Best Buy is that I don't need to go through mail it in BS. Like, I've had protection plans where you have to mail it in, and then you fill out the form and they say mail it in, and you mail it in, and 3 weeks later maybe it comes back or whatever. With the Best Buy, you just walk into a Best Buy, new GoPro, walk out. Actually, that's even changed. I take that back. Best Buy got wise, and they have started. They're like, oh, we got to send this off, and we got to check it out. So that's not even true anymore. Anyway, yeah. Have I tried Fusion 360 to design my own prints? Yes, I dabbled with Fusion 360 just because I was curious, but I never got really good at it. And then my free year subscription expired, and I was like, fine, F you. These days, if I want to tweak something, I might use Tinkercad, which is not as good as Fusion 360, but still pretty good. It's a little cumbersome. No Skate FPV wants to know what makes a 2.4 gigahertz antenna different from a 5.8 gigahertz. Well, it's a different number of gigahertz, obviously, right? It's the length of the antenna. So a good analogy for a radio antenna is like a guitar string. And if you think about a guitar string, the length of the guitar string determines the frequency that the guitar string will make when it's plucked, right? And so the longer it is, the lower the frequency, the shorter it is, the higher the frequency. There's more to it than that. It also has to do with the tension and so forth. But the standing waves that it creates, they're going to be at a certain wavelength. So then, antennas kind of work the same way. The length of the antenna relates to the wavelength or frequency, same thing, that the antenna will be tuned to. So, okay. Killdozer says, please tell me the teal pockets on the Rotor Riot V2 is an April Fool's joke. Nope. Nope. I was so bummed about those teal pockets. Like, I get it. Rotor Riot, it's their color. They wanted to do branding. But I really liked the understated, blacked out original backpack. I know people who will 100% reject that backpack because of those teal pockets. 100%. They'll just like, nope, it's out. I'm not touching it. And, you know, a lot of people will love it and love the teal pockets, and I don't blame them for putting their branding on it. But I was a little bummed about it. $20 from Mike Bundy, who says, I've had too much fun. It's Blundy should have provided an affiliate link. Blundy, do you have any idea what he's talking about? What is he having fun doing?
When we were doing the music.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, great. Thank you. Glad you enjoyed it. Casper Sobchak says, hey, JB, are you going to the Tiny Whoop Open in Denver? I have no plans to do that. When is it? I'm sure the answer is no, but I actually just sponsored. Is that Jesse Perkins' event? I just sponsored Jesse Perkins' event. Tiny Whoop Open, April 20th and 21st. Let me look at my calendar. I mean, again, I don't know why I'm going through this exercise. No. I have a trip. Here's the deal. And I'm just going to accept the reality. If you want me to go somewhere to an event or something, there's two possibilities. in the first half of 2024. One is that it's on a week when I have a trip, and one is that it's a week in between when I have a trip and I won't want to go because I'll just have been on a trip. And it's ironic as shit because my previous job before I became a full-time YouTuber, I was doing a lot of like on-site troubleshooting and on-site site surveys. So like one job I did was I went to a whole bunch of VA hospitals. They were putting in a wireless system, and I walked around the hospital with a laptop measuring the Wi-Fi and determining where anyway, it was a super fun job. In one trip, I was working with a company who was putting Wi-Fi into the national parks, obviously not the entire national park, but like at the campsites and so forth in the national parks. And we were figuring out, that one was really fun because like we had to be like, okay, I can get a microwave link from this water tower over to this light post down here. You had to figure out where to put the mic. It was kind of a fun problem to solve. Find the most efficient, cheapest way to get microwave links to where you need to go. Because, of course, trenching cable and pulling cable is expensive as shit. And I spent about as much as 50% of my time on the road. And when I was a 25-year-old, out of college, traveling around, no family, right? There's nothing. But, it was a little bit. Now I'm a little more. I'm older. I got a family. Spending half the time on the road. It was okay. Like, I didn't hate it. But I like being home. And so when I quit that job and I went full-time YouTube, I remember my first Monday after I quit my day job. I got up and I took myself out to lunch. I was like, I work for myself now. I can go out and get lunch in the middle of the day. And I sat there at First Watch Cafe and I thought, this is going to be great. I'm going to do whatever I want. For the next, I'm just going to get up and I'm going to think about drones and make content about drones. And I'm never leaving home again. And now, that was 5, 8, 4, 6, 7 years ago. And now I'm freaking, look at my calendar. It's like 2 weeks home, 2 weeks gone. Just a new phase in my career. I can quit whenever I want. Any thoughts on the GEP RC Mark V 03X Orange new version? Thank you for a $2 super chat, Wranglers FPV. GEP RC Mark V 03X Orange. I love the GEP RC Mark V. It's a great bind and fly drone. Not the only good one, but a good one. Where's this orange? Chunky says, come join me in the oil field on drilling rigs 330 days a year. Hey, at least it pays well. What is this? Just GEP RC Mark V? What's the orange? Newly upgraded aluminum alloy. Is this just a Mark V 03? I love it. The Mark V 03 is a great 5-inch. That's what I'll say. Just orange prints, huh? That's it? I mean, then it's just a GEP RC Mark V. I'm a fan of it. Tony DiMaggio says GEP RC has awful customer service. I acknowledge that. I don't want to agree or disagree with that because, like, there's always, for every company, there's somebody out there who says, oh, yeah, I love them. They're great customer service. And then there's somebody who had a bad experience. And it's really hard to sort of figure out which way the wind blows on that. But you decide what you want to do about the customer service. I think it's a good drone, though. Yeah, I'm right now. Okay, hang on. I'll show you something. Right now, I am at that doesn't seem right. Right now, I am at... Just making sure there's no identifying information on this screenshot. I am at 49 nights. Now, that's a little unfair because I went on a trip and checked out of the hotel. And 2 weeks later, I noticed a charge on my credit card from the hotel. And I said, that's weird. Did I, like, you know, I don't know. Like, did they think I stole the towels? Or, like, did I mess up a pillowcase? I don't know. Like, did they think I damaged the room? Because it was like $1,000 charge. So I called the hotel and I said, why are you charging $1,000 to my card? And they said, what do you mean? You're still in the room, aren't you? And I said, no, I checked out on 2 weeks ago. And they were like, oh, no, you didn't. So the reservation was wrong, and they thought I was still in the room and were still charging me for the room. I got a refund for that, but they kept the nights on my account, so still get credit for the nights. Yeah. I mean, if I want to, yeah, I don't know. It turned out that the mistake was in the reservation was, I didn't make the reservation over the website. The reservation was made verbally, and the hotel employee who took the reservation was the one who screwed up, and there was evidence of it. So thank God, or I would have they would have tried to make me eat that. Mechanicern with old joke, 50 Norwegian kroner. Thank you for your generosity. About playing a country song backwards. Your girlfriend comes back, your whiskey bottle fills up, and the pickup fixes itself. Classic. Chunky Tuna, thank you for a $20 super chat. What ELRS True Diversity modules are compatible with the Radiomaster RP4 to run Gemini? There are very few Gemini modules out there right now. There's the Beta FPV. There's the Beta FPV Gemini module. And the Beta FPV Super G. That's, I think, the only one. And then there's the Jumper T20 Gemini, which has a built-in Gemini module, but you got to want to use the Jumper T20, which you might or might not. Are there any other Gemini modules? I don't know. So I think if you want a Gemini module, it's like, I'm sure that Radiomaster is going to come out with a Gemini module soon. I'm sure it's coming. But right now, it's just the Beta FPV Gemini. What is Gemini? Haha, glad you asked. So, excuse me. So I have a video about it. If you search Joshua Bardwell Gemini Express LRS, you can find it. But Gemini basically means that you have two radios, and each radio transmits the packet at the same time on a different frequency. So there's redundancy there. What it means is that, like, let's say that the quadcopter is 3 feet away from the transmitter. Well, Gemini isn't going to give you any benefit there because all the data is going to get through. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Right? But when you get to the edge of range and your LQ starts to drop, now Gemini is going to push your LQ back up because each packet is going to get transmitted twice or maybe 4 times. Okay? And as a result, the chances of a packet getting through are greater. The chances of avoiding interference are greater because you're on 2 different frequencies. So if there's interference over here, you'll transmit over there. Basically, Gemini increases your LQ in times when your LQ is less than 100. If you fly and your LQ is like always 97, 98, 99, 100, 97, 98, you don't need Gemini. It's not going to do anything for you. But if you fly and your LQ is going down into the 80s or maybe lower, Gemini could help you. Kevin Sumner says, anybody taking bets on whether Radiomaster's Gemini gear will be dual band? So the idea there would be that you would have a 2.4 gigahertz and a 900 megahertz, for example, Gemini, and you'd be transmitting on both bands simultaneously. That's more complicated. One of the reasons it's more complicated is that 900 megahertz doesn't support the same hopping, packet rates that 2.4 gigahertz does. And they don't use the same hopping patterns and so forth. So the idea that I'm going to transmit the exact same packet on both radios is not quite the same. The other thing is, like, what's the point of that? What's the point? If you've got 2.4, like, the point would be that, like, you'd be at 1,000 hertz and 2.4 gigahertz and have an ultra low latency link that would then fail over to 900 megahertz when you got out of range. That's kind of cool, but, like, the ExpressLRS devs don't seem that interested in it. Like, I've asked, hey, you guys, isn't there, because it's an obvious extension. And the feedback that I got from, I'm not going to name names, but the feedback that I got was, I don't know if we're that interested in that. I'm being told by Kevin Sumner that there's a pull request. Pull request for Gemini Crossband adds a hardware driver for dual band sub-gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz operation. Whoa, this is cool. Hang on, I was not aware of this. Dual 2.4 and sub-gig operation. No support for FLRC and no support for the D and F modes. Oh, that's okay. Interesting. Has this been merged? Dev boards? There's a good chance.
Yeah.
It has been merged. But there's no hardware to actually run it. Right? No, interesting. Oh, it's interesting. Oh, here's Captain Bry. Captain Bry says... Interesting. Wow. Well, that's really cool. There are a lot of applications for that. Many of them not hobby applications. But there you go. Fascinating. What's the best indoor ripper with Walk Snail HD? I gotta say the Rotor Riot Vision 40 is real compelling. And I know that there's going to be people who kind of poo on it. Because when I reviewed this, there were people who kind of pooed on it. I thought it was really good for a 1S. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed flying it. I think there's a happy model. But does it come with Walk Snail? You specifically said Walk Snail. Mobilite 7 Walk Snail 75mm. So I certainly would consider this. It seems comparable. Does it also have the same 40mm props? Props 1610 too. Gemfan 1610. I always screw this up. It's 1.5 inch. Oh, so these are, yeah, those are the same props. Certainly, Happy Model makes good stuff. The Mobilite 7, I'm going to guess it's cheaper than the Rotor Riot one. $215, Rotorama $280. That doesn't seem right. Mobilite 7. There we go, race day quads. Thank you. How much? $215, coming soon, of course. This one is $275. Yeah, so the Happy Model one's a lot cheaper. I'm going to guess that the specs are about the same. 1002, 20,000 kV. I think that's the same. 1002, 14,000. Oh, wow, much lower kV. Oh, that's the 2S. Okay, never mind. Yeah, so 1002, 24,000 kV. Oh, wow, the Rotor Riot one is higher kV. Anyway, they're pretty close. I would be tempted I'd be tempted to save money and buy the Happy Model one because it's probably not garbage. The Rotorat one I personally have flown, though, and I really like it. So, 661 FPV, that's the 1S Walksnail video transmitter, though. It can't cut out at 3.3 volts, can it? No, surely not. I don't remember. Let's look at my review of the Vision 40. Do I ever fly it all the way down? Just frickin' works. It just frickin' works. That's really sad. I'm being told in the chat that it blacks out at 3.3 volts. That's pretty sad. So do you just run it off a regulator off of 5 volts? I mean, that's like no flight time for a 1S. Oh, you guys don't see when I'm... Yeah. Whoops, my bad. I'm trying to look and see if I flew it down. This is a ridiculous amount of performance for a 1S. Look at that. Prop wash? No. Shuttering? No. Just a little fucking... Listen to how happy I sound. Just a little pop and go. It's just... Yeah. That was one of the things. I went to a whoop race and was flying HD0 and was falling out of the sky at, 3.0 volts. And I watched people finish the race at 2.5 volts on analog. And that's not good for your batteries. But, like, it was annoying. So, yeah. What do you rate the Fat Shark Dominator HDO 2.1? I think Fat Shark has really been outclassed by like Skyzone. Skyzone is so much more sort of full featured and modern, and the Fat Shark is really stuck back in the late 2000s in many ways. It's a solid goggle. Don't get me wrong. And if what you want is a solid goggle, yeah, for sure. It has good optics, but like personally, like just the interface and the features are so bleh that I would like want the Orca goggles or the Skyzone goggles if I had the choice. Got $10 super chat from Connor Schroep, who says, any problems that you see with my first build? I got a TBS Source 1 frame, Zing 2 2306 1755 kV motors, Happy Model 2.4 GHz, Express GEP RC rad, video transmitter, Runcam Phoenix 2, Luminaire Axie, V-Fly Finder 2. I would, if you've bought the 2306 motors already, that's fine. Keep them, enjoy them. They're not bad. I would choose 2207 over 2306. It is a minuscule difference that in flight almost no one, including probably me, would notice. I want to get that out of the way. But in principle, the volume to diameter ratio of the 2207 is a little more ideal and is going to be a little more torquey and a little more responsive. This can be demonstrated on the bench, and I go two ways. Sometimes I'm like, whatever, I don't care what the bench results are. If I don't notice when I'm flying, that's all I care about. And I'm like, damn the lab tests. And sometimes I'm like, well, if I can't tell the difference and on paper it's better, why not pick it? And that's how I feel about 2207 motors. Let's see. Happy Express LRS, fine. GEP RC rad, solid VTX. A little slept on. GEP RC rad is a little slept on. Rad Mini. Rad Mini. That's a 1 watt. 1 watt VTX, solid. Yeah. Hit it. Good, good, good. Ghetto Bird, thank you for a $20 super chat. Very generous. I just switched to quad from 4S batteries and 2700 kV motors where it flew at around 90 watts to 6S batteries and 1950 kV motors where it now runs at around 150 watts. What happened? Well, here's what happened. I'm going to tell you what happened. We're going to pull up a calculator. Okay? You were at 4S batteries That's 4 times 4 times 4.2 is 16.8 volts times 2700 kV. That's a no load of 45,360 RPM. You went to 6S batteries, 6 times 4.2, 25.2 volts at 1950 kV times 1950, 49,140 RPM. Your RPM is higher. Now, if you had a 2700 kV motor on a 4S battery and you switched to a 6S battery and you had about an 1800 kV motor, your RPM would be about the same and your amp draw would be about the same. But because you have gone to a higher RPM, your 1900 kV motor is making more RPM, more thrust. You have 8% more, 9% more RPM. And if you're thinking, well, why did you went to 150 watts, right? What are you at? 100, 150 out of 90. You have 66% more watts, but you only have 10% more RPM. Well, the shit's non-linear. I don't know. There's something else going on. But the main reason that you're pulling more watts is that you're making more thrust. The main reason that you're pulling more watts is that you're making more thrust. So here's what you can do. I'll show you. We'll do one more maths. 1900 out of 17, or sorry, the other way. I've got to go the other way. 1700 out of 1900. An 89%. Okay? If you put a 90% motor output limit, it will roughly bring the kV of the motors down and see what happens to your watts. Excuse me. Speaking of 4S, would you recommend buying 4S for a beginner than upgrading when I have the money? No. 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 No, no, no. 4S is cheaper by a little bit. Depending on where you're buying, maybe a lot. But, like, just buy the batteries you're going to use, right? If you want to buy 4S, buy 4S. Good. These days, it'll be a little harder to find motors if you're buying 4S. But, yeah, it'll be okay. Just buy 6S. And then, if you want a reduction in power, use a motor output limit or a throttle scale in Betaflight. Whatever happened to Orca? Or I don't recall much talk about them. Orca does not seem to be actively pursuing the hobby market right now. I haven't seen, like, they were supposed to be working on a digital video system, like, in 2022, maybe. What was the year that Bachgrinder went to CES and saw their prototype? It was like 2020. I think it was like 2021 or 2022. I can't remember, though. Nope. What happened to my... There we go. Then they had this incident where their bootloader was hacked and the ransomware, which that kind of sucked. They do weird shit. Like, they made that hand controller that kind of like, I was like, what? They made a Bluetooth module that lets you, plugs into the back of your radio and lets you play simulator over Bluetooth. Being told in the chat they make drone soccer parts. It's like, who are your customers, Orca? I don't know. But they're still around. Like, I don't know where they're getting money or who their customers are or what's keeping them going, but they're still around. So, I don't know. But I agree with you that they don't seem super enamored with the hobby market. Like, how long has it been since the Orca FPV-1 came out? How many updates, there's no new hardware chasing the hype train. I don't know. There you go. Rain Squad says Orca kind of screwed us with a digital system they never made. They can't screw you by not making a thing. Yeah. Gareth Dix says Orca are working on government contracts. Well, that would explain why they're not interested in the hobby market. Ah, yes. The days when Orca was going to... Oh, look at this. And what did I say? What did I say? I was like, this is not for hobbyists. These are not for hobbyists. I don't know who they're for, but they're not for hobbyists. They got our hopes up. It's true.
I mean, I didn't pull the screenshots though because Ivan just rants on YouTube or on Facebook all the time, but he replied to a comment of somebody like 3 months ago that was like, yes, we have a digital system coming. No, it's not for consumers.
Oh,
basically is what they said.
I mean, good for you, but then why do I care? You see what I mean?
There was something about like, we can't make the economics work for the consumer market, but we have a digital FPV. It was something like that. You know?
It's weird because, like, if consumers were excited about, like they've said from the beginning, and literally I interviewed them way back when their company was first getting started. It was one of the first times I spent my own money to buy a plane ticket and travel for my channel. I traveled to Vegas and I interviewed them at CES. The interview's still up on my channel if you want to go find it. And one of the things they said was, we believe that the hobby market, the way the hobby market can teach us things about FPV and about goggles, but our sights are set bigger. That we want to do inspection, we want to do all these things that FPV can do that are in the commercial world. And they said we're serious about the hobby market. We want to make products for hobbyists because hobbyists really are where you make good products. Hobbyists beat the shit out of your stuff. They keep you honest, etc. But they said our sights are set bigger. We don't want to just be a hobby company. And so now they've got this video system. And the thing is that they'll put out a statement. They'll be like, big stuff coming. And everybody gets hyped. And then it's like, oh, but not for you. So, like, I would say if Orca doesn't want to serve the hobby market, then they should stop advertising to the hobby market. Not that they advertise very much, but they'll just drop a bomb every now and then and hype train. People get excited and then they get annoyed when it doesn't happen. Anyway. Okay. Henry Ng asks, what do I think about the Avata 2? I think nothing about the Avata 2. I have nothing that I can say about the Avata 2 at all. I won't talk about the leaks. I certainly won't talk about anything else. No comment. Blenty, I've been kind of going down the list, and I haven't been rushing to do Super Chats, but I see that I'm getting behind on the Super Chats, so I'm going to do a little Super Chat roundup here. Donald Pittman. Oh, yeah, Blenty, go ahead.
I was just going to point out that they still have their enterprise website up if you want to pull it up real quick for the Orca bit. I forgot that it was there.
Well,
I put it on I put a link in the Discord.
This one here, yeah. NDAA compliant components for FPV quadcopters. High performance, secure, and affordable. I will deny the cookies. Oh, an F405. La-di-da. F405 330 FC. Oh,
yeah, so if you scroll down.
It's got locking plugs. I like that. I mean, I would solder, but if you're going to have plugs, that's, the government needs locking plugs. Go ahead, Blunty, sorry.
I was just going to say, they have the flight controller and ESC. They're both supposed to be NDAA compliant. But the main thing is that was the goggles they teased with the digital system when they re-teased it back in 2023. So this is like hey, we're going to slap digital into these along with our release. And then it turned into, hey, we're only going to do this for enterprise applications. So,
what does NDAA compliant mean?
I think it's some word for you can sell them in the U.S. and other friendly countries.
The National Defense Authorization Act banned the selling or installing of products by several companies.
Yeah,
so it's the no China thing.
Yeah. No China or whatever the other listed countries
But where are
are.
they getting their F-405s? Don't the F-405s come from China?
I don't have the answer to that.
I don't know. I don't understand. Anyway, if you ask, like, this website probably helps you understand. If you're like, where is Orca? What are they doing? Well, if they're not selling products to hobbyists, then, although I don't know who's buying this. I don't know. Somebody probably bought 1 million of them, and they're all just sitting there drinking margaritas and laughing at us. I don't know. Anyway, more power to him. More power to him. Tony Cake is a great guy. I'm not saying the other guys, you know, Yvonne and Surgeon, they're good. They seem like good guys too, but I haven't quite hung with them. I've hung with Tony Cake a little bit. He's a good guy. He's a little bit of a jerk. Tony knows what I'm talking about. But he's a good guy. I wish him the best. But I think that as a hobbyist, like, I would buy the Orca goggles today. The Orca goggles are good goggles, and they still support them, as far as I can tell. You know? But I wouldn't hold out hope that they're, like, going to release some video system that's going to change the world. That's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. Killdozer says Bardwell's noticing. What am I noticing? What am I noticing? Blunty, what am I noticing? Do you know? Is there something going on in the chat? Blunty
No.
Yeah. Bardwell is noticing. Okay, I don't know what that means. I'd like to know if I'm noticing something.
All right, I think you're right, though. On to the super chats, right?
On to the super chats. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Blunty. Should I get the DJI Goggles V2 or should I go with the Fat Shark Dominator and Walk Snail system? I'm hearing a lot of bad things about Walk Snail and their equipment breaking really easily. Donald Pittman, I think that the complaints about Walk Snail breaking really easily probably are mostly about the 1S Whoop VTX. I can't say for sure, but my opinion is that their big VTXs, they're not as durable as DJI. I mean, they're not. DJI makes amazing hardware, but I don't feel like the Walksnail VTXs, well, they're probably not as durable as analog either, because analog can be they're smaller and can be more isolated and they're just lesser components. I don't think that the Walksnail VTXs are below the bar in terms of durability, but they may be less durable than some of the other alternatives. Let's put it that way. But the V2 goggles are pretty hard to get, you know? Why would you buy the V2 goggles? I mean, you can get the Integra for like $350 right now. Like, isn't that, if you're like on the fence about Walksnail, isn't that the way to go? I don't know. Wranglers TV, thank you for a $2 super chat. iFlight Nazgul V3 versus the Gepard C Mark V. Gepard C Mark V. Nazgul V3 is quite good and I think less expensive, but if they're the same price, I'd take the Gepard C Mark V. I think it's a little more refined. I like the cosmetics on it better, if that matters. I like the metal front end. I like the... Does the Nazgul V3 have a metal front end? It might. I thought the Evoque had a metal front end, but the Nazgul V3. The Nazgul V3, not the Evoque. It does have a metal front end. Nazgul V3 is pretty good too. It's tough, but I think I'd take the Gepard C. Tony DiMaggio, thank you for a $5 super chat. When do you replace a prop? When it affects my video. When I can hear the motors sounding shitty. Right? When I hear that the motors sound shitty or when it makes my video look bad. Oh my goodness. Coops, I'm not going to rant about that. I just have to say, innocent until proven guilty. Isn't that an American thing? The incident you're wanting me to rant about apparently happened in Scotland. And I don't know, sometimes there's a tendency for Americans to assume that the way we structure our laws is the same as the way everyone structures their laws. I don't know. Maybe it's also a Scottish thing, but I wouldn't assume. Freaklight, thank you for a $5 super chat. I just ordered my first drone parts. Does the flight controller ESC stack have the Express LRS? Or is that the VTX and radio related? I am so new to the hobby. Oh, man. I promise you, I'm just laughing at the sort of situation. I'm not laughing at you, but you are so new to the hobby. And the words you are putting in the sentence it's not. So I'm going to try and help you answer your question, and please don't. Let's like laugh and nod together. Express LRS is the control link. The control link is responsible for getting the signals from the hand controller with the joysticks on it to the flight controller. Express LRS is the control link. The video transmitter and the goggles go together. That's the video link. So you've got the video transmitter and the goggles, the receiver and the hand controller. Those are two separate and parallel things that don't really have a lot of crossover. To oversimplifying a little bit, but both of those things then talk to the flight controller. So the flight controller, there are some flight controllers that have built-in Express LRS. They're mostly used on very small quadcopters. But probably your flight controller and ESC stack doesn't have Express LRS. You need to buy an Express LRS receiver. And then the video transmitter is going to be a separate component. Yuck, I think you're wrong about that. Yuck says, why are civil businesses worried about the DJI ban if it only affects government agencies? Earlier DJI bans have only prohibited government agencies from using the DJI drones. Consumers have not been affected. The current, the Countering CCP Drones Act, that act would prohibit the use of DJI drones on any, what's the exact wording? It's like federal infrastructure. What, do you know the exact wording by chance, Blunty?
No, but I mean, regardless of that, it pulls the FCC search for them.
Right,
so
that's exactly right. It would pull the FCC certifications for the DJI drones, which would mean that most consumers couldn't use them either. Basically, you would need a ham license to use them, and most consumers aren't going to jump through that hoop. So the Countering CCP Drones Act is normally I'd be with you. I'd be like, guys, you're overreacting. The federal government is banning its own employees from using DJI drones, which, by the way, they did. But hey, if the federal government wants to say that their employees can't use DJI drones, that is an internal issue to the federal government. If they want to say their employees have to, whatever, they can have rules for their own employees. But when it gets to, this is the first time when one of these DJI bans would affect the public's ability to use and fly DJI drones. Bayoki, thank you for 10 Brazilian reais. I have a Meteor 75 Pro for about a year. It started getting crazy after sharp flips and rolls. I've changed the PIDs, but that didn't work. Okay, so first thing I would say is, if you have a quadcopter that's flying good, and one day it starts acting crazy, don't change the PIDs. You didn't change the PID. If you start PID tuning, and then after you change the PIDs, it starts acting crazy, okay, well, then change the PIDs back. But you didn't change the PIDs. So when you try to fix a mechanical problem by changing the PIDs, you're putting a splint, you're putting a crutch on a broken leg. And that can be useful, but you should know that you need to fix the broken leg. Okay? So the fact that the quadcopter spontaneously started acting crazy after flips and rolls means you have a problem. I would guess that it's a bad motor because tiny whoop motors do wear out over time. They pick up hair, they pick up dirt, and they just wear out. My guess is you have a bad motor. But the bigger lesson here is that when the quadcopter suddenly starts falling out of the sky, don't think, do I need to upgrade the firmware on the flight controller? No, that's not why it's falling out of the sky. It was fine. Now it's falling out of the sky. It has to be a mechanical problem. Thumper wants to know, thank you for a $10 super chat, Thumper. I really like 2407 size motors for 5-inch 6S. What's your opinion on the best motor in that size out there? Oh, I don't know. Hold on, my cup is condensing on my desk, and I don't have a coaster, and it's driving me crazy. I'm sorry. Hold on. There was a time when 2407 motors were kind of popular for 5-inch. I remember the EFAW 2407. I was a really good 5-inch motor, but that was back before Betaflight had good D-term filtering and good D-term performance. Nowadays, Betaflight can fly really well on like a 2207 motor. So the first question I would ask is like, why are we using a 2407 motor on a 5-inch prop? Because generally, I think that's too much motor. It's giving you more torque, but it's giving you torque that you don't really need. And so you'd have to justify the additional weight. But take it as stipulated that you want 2407s. I just don't want people to walk away from here thinking that's like a good general recommendation. So let's see. Let's look for a 2407 motor. Like, what's a good one? Okay. Top of the list, the Lumineer Zip 2407. Lumineer OEM motors are generally okay quality motors, a little high priced for what they offer compared to some of the other, the Lumineer name commands a little bit of a premium. So like, this wouldn't be my first pick because like, I think I could get a better motor, maybe a little cheaper. Mad 2407, Mad Motors, they were the company that had all the problems with like paying reviewers and making them sign contracts to take down bad reviews. King. Is that MEPS? Ooh, MEPS I'm so King. Glad. There was, what do I remember Mad Motors from? Nothing? I'm just maligning them? Okay, my mistake. I take it back. Thank you plenty for saving me from that. As I was saying that, I was thinking, am I about to defame somebody? Thanks. Glad you're here. That looks like a good motor. $20. Single strand windings. I don't know. Who else we got? Flash Hobby. No. Ultra budget. Ultra cheap. Bad quality. Would say no to that. Co-Nasty 2407, $20. That's going to be a Ethics motor. Ethics motors are okay quality. They're usually a little overpriced for my tastes, but $20. I don't know. Looks like the Lumineer Zip or the Mad motor are the ones that you're going to be leaning towards. It doesn't seem like a lot of VCI Spark 2407. Oh, I know this company VCI. I actually have some of their motors. Hold on. Where are they? Oh damn. Frick. Somebody was jacking around in my closet and moved all my shit. Oh, can't find him. Oh, well. I actually have some of these motors. I don't have the 2407s. I have their 2207 and their 2306. I'm waiting for a good opportunity to get these into a video. These are actually really well-made motors. Like, shockingly well-made motors. Like, and this company, I don't know who this company is, but I can tell you that the sales rep that I talked to, when I talked to the people, because they sent me, so they were like, hey, we're a new motor company. Can we send you some motors? I was like, eh. But it's the same lady that I used to talk to over at GemFan. So we're doing the Chinese company shuffle. I don't know if this is a sister company or if it's a separate company. But it's not like someone who has no ties to the FPV world. And actually, just cosmetically, these are really nicely made motors. I haven't got a chance to fly them yet. Not a Unibel. Yeah, okay. $20. I'd give these a punt. Does RC Power make a 2407? I don't think they do. I would absolutely recommend RC Power if they made a 2407. I don't think they do. So, okay. There you go, Thumper. Hope you get your $10 worth. WKFPV, thank you for 75 Uyu. What's an Uyu? Uruguayan peso. Uwu? Too bad it's not an Uwu. Is Uwu a currency? It's a cryptocurrency. Oh well. I switched from KISS firmware to FetTech Alpha, but anyway, I have wobbles on fast throttle changes and don't know how to get rid of them. I also don't know how to get rid of them. I don't know about PID tuning FetTech Alpha or KISS Ultra. The cynical part of me wants to say, you don't need to pin tune them because they just fly so good. That's not fair. I'm not going to do that. But I don't know how to fix it for you. I appreciate your donation. I apologize that I can't give you a better answer. But what I would recommend is that you get on the FetTech Discord server and ask there. And, if I could refund your super chat, I would. But because I'm useless for this question. But I would say get on the FetTech Discord server and ask there. Blade Outlaws, thank you for a $10 super chat. I got a promotion at work to a lead in welding robotics due to putting in that I built and programmed drones on my resume. Thanks for your help over the years. Awesome. Awesome. It's easy to forget sitting here in my basement, sitting in front of a camera, talking to it and posting videos on the internet. It's easy to forget that on the other side of that, there are like real people whose lives are affected by the things I do. Somebody emailed me and they were like, "Hey Bardwell, haven't talked to you in like 3 years. I have a job now building drones for this company and it's my full-time job and I love it." And I went back and looked, and like 3 years ago, he sent me a question like, "Hey, Mr. Bardwell, how do I make my receiver work?" And in 3 years, this guy went from knowing nothing. And I would like, he says my videos were a big part of it. I'm not like trying to, brag, but I felt really good. Like, it's not just that, it's like there's people out there making their lives better. Some people, with this information. It feels good. Potkas, thank you for 14 South African Rand. Gemini on F1000 and 50 Hertz would be awesome. Yeah. KCFPV, thank you for $2. Why such a secret? What are you doing on all the trips? Okay, the new Transformers movie is going to be amazing. That's all I can say. Wranglers TV says, could you run a 6S on a 4S quad if the flight controller supports 3 to 6S? Thank you for a $5 super chat, Wranglers. Yes, but you would either have crazy RPM and just kill your ESC and kill your battery, or you could use a motor output limit to scale it down by 2/3. Which was what I would recommend. Striker, thanks for the updates on my webpage. I will take that into consideration. If you have... Smash or pass? Darwin FPV Baby Ape 2, Firefly 1S. Firefly 1S, Baby Ape 2. What's the Firefly 1S? Is it a quadcopter? Firefly, it's a flywheel Firefly. The Baby Ape, extremely good value for money. Pretty solid, not like amazing, but for $100, heck yeah, smash. The FR116, smash all day. Super fun. Both of these, super fun. Well worth the money. I might consider getting the 2-inch version of the Firefly instead of the 1.6, though. Just depending on what you're looking for in terms of flight dynamics. Smash, smash, definitely. Grows J83 wants a flight controller ESC suggestion for the Volador 3.5X. Thank you for a $10 super chat. Let me look here. I just want to look at the mounting for the Volador. Is it 20 millimeter only, or is it 20 and 30? Why am I at the AliExpress page? Where's the frickin' Flyfish page? Stack mounting 20 and 25. Okay. So either you're going to be using a 20 millimeter stack or a 25 millimeter all-in-one. Between those two, I would probably pick a 20 millimeter stack. Because I think it's going to be more durable. And I would go to... this page. fpvknowitall.com is my website. I would go here. There's a page about racing parts. And the reason we're here, even though this is not a racing drone, is that these are all 20 millimeter flight controllers and ESCs. And they are just absolutely bomb-proof. Like, nothing is indestructible, but these are the most durable ESCs, I think, because racers beat the crap out of them, right? So I would pick one of these that's going to fit in the frame and go with it. That's what I would do. Ben Rate, thank you for a $2 super chat. Would you build the Skyliner HD or the Project 399 Super G? Probably the Skyliner. I mean, the Skyliner isn't my favorite style of frame, but it's a solid frame. And Drew's my friend. So probably that one. You probably were asking for a more technical analysis, but for $2, that's the best you're going to get. El Chingon FPV, thank you for a $5 super chat. Pavo 2.0 won't take off in angle mode. Seems to have less power in acro, but flies. Flown today with 3S. Won't take off in angle mode. That's really weird. Why would being in angle mode make it have not enough power to take off? El Chingon, I don't know off the top of my head what would cause this. I think I need more details, so I'm going to have to ask you to email me. Because this is nothing's coming to me. That's a weird one. I want more details, and obviously this is, it's hard to go back and forth on a live stream. Freaklight, thank you for a $5 super chat. I ordered the F7 HD 55 amp Pro 2.3 blah 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 blah. What ELRS module do you recommend? Do you mean How is the first half of this sentence related to the second half? None of this is relevant to recommending an ELRS module. If you do want a recommendation for an ELRS module, go to fpvknowitall.com. Haha, you knew I was going to do it. Controllers and receivers, and Express ELRS. I got suggested receivers here. There are a ton of good Express ELRS receivers, but I got to get the RP4 added. Interesting. These are some good ones that I can recommend. Okay, we're caught up on the super chats. Yay. We got about a half hour left in the stream. Blunty, if you had any questions that were particularly good, you can go ahead and pin those. Otherwise, I'm just going to pick some. Kyle Lindgreen wants to know, do you still recommend the HD0 goggles as the best all-round goggle for someone getting into FPV? Yeah. Yep. They're not perfect in every way, But if you want an all-round goggle that can do Walksnail HD0 and analog, they're the best choice. The Walksnail Goggles X would be the other contender, but their support for analog is pretty weak, whereas the HD0 support for analog is like fairly robust. Jason Murphy says, I had a super chat, but I haven't seen it yet. Jason Murphy, I don't see a super chat from you. I don't see a super chat at all. Sorry about that, dude. Like, literally I don't see any super chats from you. If you ask your question again, Blunty, keep an eye out for James Murphy and see if he can...
Hey,
yeah.
If you go to the YouTube button and then drop down to fan funding and look at the first super chat that was sent in this stream, he sent it before we started.
The YouTube button, what do you mean? Where?
Like if you go into the YouTube chat, you can click on fan funding and see all the super chats. You know what I'm talking about?
See fan funding.
Like if you do the drop down, look, so okay, YouTube chat. It's the top chat. See at the top it says top chat on the left.
Oh.
Drop down.
Oh, that's new. That's new. That didn't used to be there. Look at that. That didn't used to be there. Jason Murphy, your super chat came in way back at the beginning of the stream before we got the queue set up. I apologize for that, man. Thank you for sticking around. Sorry it took me so long to get to you. Jason Murphy's question is, in my first year doing FPV in Alaska, long-range mountain surfing, I made a video. Can you show it on the stream? We think it's pretty good. Posted in Discord March 16th. Maybe. How will I find it? March 16th. Like, do I have to scroll back? Jason Murphy. Jason Murphy, are you in the Discord right now?
You could search by date. I don't know.
I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Jason Murphy, if you're in the Discord now, put it in the live stream chat. And if you don't get to it right now, then maybe we'll do it as a community spotlight on the news. Okay? Thank you for the donation. James Huang wants... Yeah, Bloody.
Sorry. Chat points out, I don't think you've missed much, but chat points out, when you go back, don't change it. Change it to live chat, not top chat.
Yeah.
So you catch all the chats. Okay.
Yeah. Does anyone know if you can mix motor KVN sizes together? Yes, you can. It's not ideal, but like if you have 3 motors that are discontinued and you want to go from like 2306 to 2207, it's okay. It's okay. Let's see here. Here's the video from Jason from Alaska. I'm not going to play the music because I don't want to risk getting a copyright problem. Let's just take a look. And the link is in the Discord. Oh, that's a beautiful landscape. Oh. It's always so hard to expose for snow, to get the exposure right. It's not like the hardest thing in the world, but... Oh, we're doing a chase. I love chase footage. That's for damn sure. Uh-huh. Nice. Blur. Got snow in the air. Love it. Wow. Oh, that was... Well done. That was a nice morph. That was well done. The shifting viewpoint from chasing the quad to being in the quad is a little disorienting. Like, from a narrative perspective, I'm like, what's happening here? Dude, these are some great shots. Oh, I thought we were going to freestyle there for a minute. Nice. Nice. And kind of hiding the transitions in the camera moves. It's a little disorienting, but as somebody who watches freestyle, I kind of dig it. Why did we not go chase those cars? Beautiful. Oh, reveal. Big reveal. Big reveal. Sun on the other side of the mountain. No! I wanted to go down the ridge. Ooh, oh, I'm sorry. Was that a crossfade? Wow, okay. Interesting choice. There's the ridge. Thank you. Thank you. I really dig these scenes of the quadcopter being chased. Here's the ridge again. Is this the same ridge? Oh, right between there. I don't know if this is the same ridge. A little backwards. Oh, I see some jitter there. Stabilization. Has this been slowed down and make the frame jump? I don't know. Nice. Love that. Oh, that's good. I've never seen that before. I'm sure that's a reflection on me. To take a flight up the mountain and reverse it so that you fly backwards down and you look like you're falling down the mountain. That's nice. I really like that. Yeah, obviously it's an edit, but okay. So here's what I would say. You didn't ask me for advice, but me being me, I'm going to give you advice. And you can ignore my advice. It's just my one man's opinion. The one thing, so like your cinematography is excellent. Your color grading, excellent. As far as I have an eye for color, which is not, I don't have a great eye for color, but nothing jumped out. Exposure, your shot choices, all very, very good. The one glaring thing that jumped out to me about this is your narrative flow. And like, it feels like what you did is you cut together a bunch of good shots. And that's fine. But as the way I think to take it to the next level is to think about every video, even a video that's just a bunch of landscape, mountain shots, as having a narrative flow. Like, it doesn't have to tell a story. It should tell a story where each scene or each shot flows into the next one in a coherent way. So, like, we start here, great. We've set the scene. Now we've got this little village, okay? So I'm in Alaska, and there's a little village. Great. Okay. I don't know what's happening. Oh, I'm chasing a drone. Okay, great. Love it. So I'm in Alaska. I'm near a village, and I'm chasing a drone. Got it. Oh, now, where am I now? What is the footage? What is the film telling me? Where am I right now? I'm inside the drone, right? You showed me the drone. Now I'm inside the drone. But hang on. I was flying on these white top snowy mountains, and now I'm down near a river. So, okay. Okay. So, see, that jump was the first time where I was taken out of, like, up until that point, I was just loving your video. And this jump right here is the first point where my brain went, how do we get here? What's going on here? And, like, it's a small thing, because obviously this isn't a narrative. Like, I'm not telling a story with a, right? But I am. And my brain was like, what's going on here? So now we're here. Oh, and now we're back here. Now we're chasing the quad again. What happened? Right? Now we're chasing the quad again. Nice. Okay. Now we're here. So there were several times. The other time that I like really noticed was like here, the shot of these houses. So here we're going up the mountain. What? Shot of houses, random, and shot's over. So it's like, what, how do we get there? Why do we see that? And now the other one, and I gotta call it out. Loved this. This was all good. Liked it. This one here, you really gut punched me when you didn't go down the mountain there. Like, you really just yanked the rug right out. Oh, I want it. I want it so bad. Let's go down the ridge. No, we're going to look over here now. Oof. Ouch. Ouch. So, that's my thoughts. It's great footage. It's great footage, and Oh, now we're going down the mountain. Okay. But why? Let me ask you this. From an editing perspective, and I feel like I've been in your shoes where I've got all this footage and I want to show the footage and I got to figure out how to put the footage together. Okay, cool. Nothing wrong with that. But like from an editing perspective, why did we break away from this shot? What was the choice? Why did we choose to break away from that shot? And why did we go to this shot? Why was this the next shot? Is there a reason? And the more you can answer those questions, the more coherent, the more people will want to watch your videos all the way from start to finish. And because every time I'm like, oh yeah, wait, that's a moment where I'll be like, all right, cool, I'm done watching with it. It's good video. Okay. The shots are incredible, but like, I almost wish that we could hand this to someone who's a really good editor and tell them, edit this for me. And they could recut it in a way. It's not me. I'm not that guy. But yeah, storyboard it. Good, great footage, good video. I can't help but nitpick it because I am who I am as a person. Please don't let that, please don't let that take away from it was a good video. What packet rate should you run if you're flying far with Express LRS? As low as possible. 50 hertz. If you're on 900 megahertz, you can go down to 25 hertz. Exactly. Totally agree. Stovall says, helpful pointers to make good great. And that's my goal here. That is a very good video. And I don't want to take away from it. I hope that my advice could make it just a little bit better. Oof. Does sub 250 gram craft need lance in controlled airspace? Ooh, Blunty, don't tell me the answer. Do you know the answer to this question? You're a little more up on the regulations than I am. You know the answer?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know the answer. I think the answer is yes. I think the answer is that if you're in controlled airspace, you have to get lance approval regardless of weight. And the 250 gram limit only applies to things like registration or remote ID. Am I right?
That's correct.
Yes!
The only thing you don't need to do with the 250 gram craft is register it. You have to do everything else. The reason you don't have to do remote ID is because remote ID is based on registration.
Oh, interesting. There you go. All right. If you can't know the truth, know the correct answer, at least be able to guess correctly. RBRC says, AI music has no soul. It's coming, friend. It's coming. The days when you're going to play an AI's track and you're not going to know it's AI is coming. And anyway, even if AI music has no soul, there is a huge market for soulless music. Things like commercial jingles, things like intro songs, just little throwaway music that right now people on Fiverr get 50 or 100 or 200 bucks to make. And AI is, I'll call it now, AI is going to gut that market. AI image creation is eventually going to gut the market for B-roll video and stock photography. Think about it. I want a stock photograph of a happy family petting their dog. Well, today I have to go to a photo library and find a human who took a picture of a happy family petting their dog. It's not going to be very long until AI can create images that are good enough for throwaway stock photography. It's very close now. The same thing is going to happen with video, although it's a little far behind the curve, and the same thing is going to happen with music. I think there will always be a place for the best of the best to make very good music, very good films, very good media of any kind. But this kind of like throwaway writing, my wife has a e-storefront, and she uses AI to generate product descriptions. And when she has a product, she'll say, you know, she'll give it some keywords about the product, and then she has prompts, and she'll be like, write me a happy, upbeat, motivational. I don't know what her she's so embarrassed right now because that's such a shit prompt. And she's like, oh my God, she has these really, and the great thing is she uses a different AI to help her generate prompts. Because she's like, okay, help me write a prompt that will, and then she refines the product description until she's got something she likes, and then she manually edits it so it doesn't sound like it was generated by AI. But it's just a huge amount of mid-tier work that is currently done by humans that is going to just completely be done by AI, and I don't know what that means for humanity, but it's coming. Let's see. Wow. Is there any value to use an Action 2 on a quad that has an O3? That's tough. I like this question. I think it's an interesting question. I haven't side-by-sided them. I'm not even sure I still own. I think I still own an Action 2. But I haven't really side-by-sided it with the O3. I have the impression that their image quality is pretty similar. The main reason to have a separate HD cam, though, is that you can set your HD cam up with ND filters so you get a nice, smooth, blurry picture, but you don't want to see that in your goggles. So the big advantage is that you could have the action camera with different image settings than the FPV cam, which is usually desirable. My gut feeling is that the O3 looks better than the Action 2. I was never impressed with the Action 2's image. I tried to use the Action 2 as my main HD cam, and I just thought it looked like garbage and hated it. The O3 doesn't look like garbage, in my opinion. Super Deluxe agrees with me. Action 2 is absolutely not the same quality of the best GoPro. I could not disagree with you more, Atreides. I respect your right to have an opinion, but I think I just disagree with you so strongly. The image quality of the Action 2 is so much worse. The colors are so much less, like, discreet. I don't know how to put it. The colors on the Hero are so much better, especially if you start grading them. And then the exposure algorithm and the dynamic range are so much better on the GoPro. No question. That would be my opinion. My strong opinion. Cameron Chavot wants to know about sub 250 gram 5 inches. There's not a lot of them. Everybody who flies sub 250, a lot of people who fly sub 250 are really happy in the 3 to 3.5 inch class. Once you get above 3 or 3.5 inch, to keep it under 250 grams, you really have to make a lot of compromises. Sub 250 5 inch does fly very nicely, but the durability goes way down because you got to make the motors and the frame super light, and you got to really want a sub 250 5 inch, and I think a lot of people just don't really want it. Drone Style Photography wants to build a Cinewhoop with an O3 and wants suggestions for frames and motors. Why are you building your own Cinewhoop? Drone Style Photography. And there are people who are going to be like, how could you be a real hobbyist if you suggest bind and flies over building your own? But bind and fly Cinewhoops are really good, and a lot of pros just use bind and flies. They'll use a Gep RC Cinelog 3.0 or an iFlight. What's the iFlight one? Fuck. So, like, I think if you're going to build a Cinewhoop, you got to ask yourself what it is you want the Cinewhoop to do that a good bind and fly doesn't already do really, really well. As far as motors go, well, indoors, For indoors, I think you're going to max out at 2.5-inch props. You can fly a 3 or a 3.5-inch indoors, but there's a lot more wind and you get a lot of buffeting when going through narrow hallways. I experienced this myself when I did my little real estate fly-through video, and people were like, yeah, your problem is you were flying a 3.5-inch indoors, you bonehead. And that's why I do things. I do things badly, and then the comments tell me what I did wrong, and then I try to, I learn things and I improve. It's kind of a self abusing way to improve, but it works. So I'm thinking 2.5-inch. So like for 2.5-inch props, what is that going to be? Like a 14mm motor, maybe? Let's take my own advice and look up the GEPRC Cinelog 2.5. You're going to be carrying a naked GoPro, by the way. You're not going to be carrying a full-size GoPro on a 2.5-inch. Like, I'm not saying you can't, but I'm just saying you shouldn't. What motors does it use? Motors. Oh, I was right. 1404, 4500 kV. So, like, I'd put you in that range. That's where I would tell you to go. We're just Aber says if you build your own Cinewhoop, you can make it look extra dope. That's true, and that's a reason. That's a reason. If you want it to look extra dope, you could do something like this. 100%. Like if you answer my question by saying I just want to build my own, that's a fine answer. Nothing wrong with that. But if you're a professional who just wants to work, then just buy a product that works and make your money. Let's see here. Wow. Okay, we got a couple more super chats. The stream is almost over. Thank you for $5 from Kyle West. I got the Haisingi Stargazer. The quad will fail safe and try and land 10 to 15 feet from the controller. What should I check? That's not normal. You have damage of some kind. You should reach out to the place you bought it from or to Haisingi and get them to fix it or repair it or replace it. That's the answer. Thank you, DCDK, for 20 Danish kroner. So we've got 20 DKK from DCDK. Oh, well, I think I'm clever. DCDK says, oh, it's just $20. No question. Just a good donation. Thank you. DC says, he says, it's late in Denmark. I think I'm out of chat. I just dropped on the bed, phone in hand. Thank you for watching. Q Silver Media, thank you for a $5 super chat. Q Silver says, I placed an order with HD0 a month ago and they're not responding to emails. Tracking number stopped updating on the 20th. Anyone else dealing with this? I don't know if anybody else is dealing with this, Q Silver, but that's definitely not good. Post on their Facebook page. Post politely and say, hey guys, I'm unable to get, I don't know if my email's not working, but I've got this problem. Can somebody please get a hold of me?
And don't have it be like they're not responding to emails, be one email in the last 30 days or something. Actually have followed up and done it properly.
Right. Because a lot of times there's another side to this story, right, Blenty? It's like they're not responding to. Yes,
and when you take it public, that's when it comes out. So just make sure you've crossed your T's and you've actually submitted them a couple times in emails and it's been in a timely fashion and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Or they're like, I've been Rotor Riot. This I get this for Rotor Riot because I'm friends with those guys, and if I see somebody posting and saying, hey, Rotor Riot's not, I'm having a customer service issue, I'll just ping them over on the group chat. Be like, hey guys, just so you know. And they'll be like, Rotor Riot support ghosted me, and I hate them, and I need help. And I'll be like, hey, Tyler, just so you know, this guy's having a problem. And Tyler will be like, yeah, his last email to us was 11 p.m. on a Friday. It's now, 6 p.m. on a Saturday. And we'll get, And I'm like, yeah, cool, no big. So, you never know. Deetsky. What's going on here, Deetsky? What is that? No, I'm not from Deetsky. The answer: your 2023 freestyle build has incompatible printed parts on analog. Where did you get the printed parts, Deetsky? The VTX cable got crimped against the ELRS holster and fried my VTX. That doesn't make sense. Can you show me a picture? Are they the... Yeah. I want to see a picture. All right, we'll take that offline, though. Deetsky, we'll take that offline. If there's an issue, we'll definitely try to get that sorted out. That is going to do it for the stream. Thank you so much, you guys, for coming out. We'll see you tomorrow for the news and throughout the week. Blunty, thank you for call screening.
Super Dog sent one super chat there at the end.
I see that. Did I get the thing that he sent me? I don't think so, but I've been out of town. Maybe. What did you send me? I don't know. Talk to me offline. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Whoa, spring is here. Woof. Spring is here. Good night, everybody. Is Siati streaming? I haven't seen him. Oh, well. Good luck.